The funeral procession of Iran's late supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei reaching the final destination from Tehran to Karbala and Mashhad. The destinations of Khamenei's final journey carefully chosen, linking some of the most sacred centers. The holy city of Qom, the center of religious authority Najaf, the place of Imam Hussein's killing in Karbala. In fact, let's just recap for you the final journey of Khamenei. At first, his mortal remains were placed inside Tehran's Grand Mosala, remember, where world leaders, Iran's top leaders, paid their respects. People carried red flags. In fact, with the Arabic inscription, Avengers of Hussein, drawing parallels between Khamenei's assassination and the killing of Imam Hussein, who was the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. From the Grand Mosala, Khamenei's casket was taken out for a parade on the streets of Tehran. The capital city witnessed a sea of red and black, representing sentiments of vengeance and mourning. The next destination of Khamenei's funeral procession was Qom, a city of holy shrines, the country's religious power center, and the birthplace of the 1979 revolution, where Khamenei's casket with his signature black turban was paraded among thousands of mourners. And following this, Khamenei's casket entered the neighboring country of Iraq, where it was taken to the shrine in Najaf. It's a major pilgrimage site for Shia Muslims and the burial place of Imam Ali, who was revered as the first Imam in Shia Muslims, and he is also known as Haider, which translates to the brave one. And from Najaf, the procession moved to Karbala. Remember, Prophet Muhammad's grandson was martyred in the Battle of Karbala more than 1300 years ago. Making it a spiritual heart of Shia Islam, representing the ultimate symbol of martyrdom. And after Karbala, Khamenei's casket reached the final destination, the holy city of Mashhad, where his mortal remains will be buried. Mashhad is Khamenei's hometown, remember, and according to the late Iranian Supreme Leader's office, he had requested to be buried near the shrine of Imam Reza, a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. As the funeral ceremony of the late Supreme Leader draws to a close, the focus also shifting to his son and successor, the current Supreme Leader, who has remained absent reportedly from public eye throughout the procession. Trump has announced the end of the ceasefire, according to him, and in fact, both sides have been trading fire. All eyes now are on the current Supreme Leader, the new figurehead.
Every time you hit, we hit.
Let's just get in further perspectives from our special guest joining us on the broadcast, war correspondent and analyst with us on the broadcast from Paris. Thanks very much for being here. Let me just begin by asking you for your assessment and, your understanding of what we've seen so far, the symbolism attached to those images that we've seen and the message that Iran right now kind of is sending out.
Thank you for having me. Well, the first message is the number of people who attended the funeral in Iran, in different cities of Iran, in Iraq, and then back to Mashhad. And we understand that there were several millions. It's a strong message that even Donald Trump said that he did not expect it. He thought that people didn't like him or didn't love him, insinuating that this is the kind of information he was fed into. So this symbolic support of the population in Iran, regardless their support or not to the government, because many Iranians are not really with the government policy. However, they all rally behind their leader who was assassinated in February by the Israelis and the Americans' war. This is where the nationalism of the Iranian came together in support of their leader and against this war. And that was demonstrated by the number of people who really filled up streets in Tehran, in Qom, in Mashhad, in Najaf, in Karbala, showing that the support of the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei was beyond Iran because he was a source of emulation. He was not only the leader of Iran, but he was also a Grand Ayatollah that had many followers in Lebanon, in Iraq, and among the Shia Muslim in the world.
Right. I also have to ask you, we've seen the burial being delayed because of the war this entire time. And now that it is happening again, we've seen tension spiking and the two sides exchanging fire, even as those ceremonies have been continuing. At the same time, question marks over the attendance of the current supreme leader during those ceremonies, and where things stand right now within Iran as far as the leadership is concerned. And all of this, of course, throwing up a lot of uncertainty for the entire region at the same time.
Well, yes, it is true that his remains were preserved for months in a cold storage due to the ongoing war and delayed funeral, which is unusual under Islamic customs. However, it is done and has been done in many occasions when there are circumstances that are not under the control of the family or the nation. However, we have seen his son taking over because normally there is no inheriting a process between a leader of the revolution to his son, but because the council of experts that is elected by the people selected his son Mojtaba Khamenei because his father was assassinated and because he was wounded, as a sign of challenge to the Americans, rather than submitting to the Americans and selecting someone else, that the council could have done that. However, they have insisted and the majority voted for the son in a signal of defiance to the Americans. Where we are at today is, again, the same ruling system in Iran is still in place. The leader of the revolution is not the absolute commander of everything. On the contrary, many countries don't understand that, even analysts. There are several systems in Iran that allow the decision to be taken through a series of bodies to land at the end at the national security of the country that is formed by the president, the foreign minister, the justice system, the IRGC, the army, the head of the parliament. All these people are inside this council, and they are the one who decide and then pass on the decision to the Grand Ayatollah to accept it. And we have seen in the last decision when Sayyid Mojtaba Khamenei accepted the MOU, saying, what is my point, which means he's against it. However, he passed on the responsibility to the president of the National Security Council, that is the current president, Pezeshkian.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for joining us with those perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.